Bryce, so the first question I got to ask is, how much does it suck being back in Hawaii?
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare! No, it's I was texting with Nick, who's in the film as well, plays my nephew, and he was like, I was like, really rough life. I'm already here, and he was like, oh, it's going to be so exhausting. I had to pack my swimsuit. I mean, the pain is only just beginning. I mean, it's amazing getting to be here, and especially to celebrate the release of the Blu-ray and the DVD, and getting to kind of like, that's kind of what, whenever a Blu-ray comes out or a DVD comes out and it's of a movie that I really love, it's so exciting for me because I get to kind of like experience the movie again, and then there's all those like extra features, and you get to kind of check out an even more in-depth perspective of kind of like what the behind the scenes were and all of that. And so being here, being in that mindset, knowing that all that is coming out now, and getting to reflect for myself on the experience of shooting the movie, which really only happened just a little over a year ago. I mean, it's amazing, and it's been an incredible year.
So you were about 12 when the first Jurassic Park came out.
Yeah.
Did you get the full theatrical experience?
I did.
What was that like?
Yeah, so it's so my parents were pretty protective of me when I was a kid, and they wouldn't really let me see movies that were that had any kind of violence or gore or were scary. I had a really overactive imagination as a child, and so they were like, okay, we're just gonna keep it, just sunshine and rainbows. But all my friends were freaking out over the fact that this movie was coming out, and we'd seen the previews in theaters, and I knew all my friends were going to be seeing it opening weekend, and I begged my parents, and what they did was they went and saw Jurassic Park in the theaters opening night, and I distinctly remember this. My dad came home and he said, this is cinema history. You have to see this movie in the theaters. And so I got to see it Saturday night, and I mean, it kind of changed my life. I mean, not just because, over 20 years later, I was going to be shooting Jurassic World. I mean, it opened my eyes to what was possible with cinema, and that you could capture things that were fantastical in a genuinely realistic way. You didn't need that kind of suspension of disbelief that had existed for me previously when I was watching movies. So yeah, it was an important moment for me, getting to see that first film in the theaters.
And now you're a part of that world.
Yeah.
And tackling the character of Claire.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you approached this character when you were given the film and you were getting ready to start. What was your perception of her character? Like when you were approaching it, like, how am I going to tackle this character? Like, what am I going to do with her?
Well, you know what? Something I should cop to was that I got involved with Jurassic World pretty much over a year before we even started shooting, and Colin asked me if I would do it, and I was like, of course, but I didn't read the script for several months because it wasn't yet ready. So partly in my mind, like, Colin talked to me about the character, and I was like, oh man, that sounds amazing. But I was sort of like, yeah, I'll read the movie, and I'm probably like just a supporting role, and I should just be grateful for that, and it's not get my expectations, to kind of like too high. And then when I read the script, I was like, oh man, this is a lady that really goes through a lot and really changes. And I was stoked to play a woman like that. Like, I was really excited to play somebody who comes from a really kind of corporate, sterile environment, and then gets exposed to a world that you would think that she would be familiar with because she runs the park, but she's not at all. And then in that journey, she really finds herself, and she reconnects with her humanity, and she reconnects with her courage and her true sense of power. So it's, you always want to play a character that goes through some kind of a transformation.
Right.
And that is certainly Claire, and I think that's going to continue, in future Jurassic World movies. I think she's going to continue to evolve and change, and I don't know what to expect of that, but I'm really excited to see where she goes.
Colin Trevorrow had actually said that earlier this week, is that this is part of a planned trilogy, and that out of all the characters, yours would have yours would evolve the most.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a lot of pressure for you.
Bring it on. No, it's awesome. It's so awesome. I mean, I think it's yeah, like I said, you know, that's why we tell stories, is to show examples of human beings being faced with tremendous obstacles and either you know, running from those obstacles and facing ultimately, you know, catastrophe, or facing those challenges head on and rising to the occasion and transforming themselves so that they can move through those challenges and obstacles, and that's what Claire did in the first film, and that's what I hope she continues to do. So it's really, you know, it's really awesome.
So BD, I understand, and I just found this out, that you actually were not in Hawaii for the first Jurassic Park.
I
when
was
you guys
not.
filmed.
I was almost in Hawaii for the first Jurassic Park, and then it was canceled, and I was really bummed out, and I was mad that I was just going to shoot in LA. And then there was a gigantic hurricane in Hawaii when I was supposed to be there, and so I kind of dodged a bullet there.
Now, even though that happened, you were still able to see the film. So I'm curious, what was your first reaction to seeing the theatrical experience of Jurassic Park?
This was at a time when, you know, the technology in movies was just CGI, and all of that stuff they were pushing it in a way that people were shocked, actually, when they saw it actually in a movie. Yeah. So I was just like that, and I was one of those audience members who was like, no way, I can't believe I'm watching this on a movie screen. And it was, you know, there are certain moments in Jurassic Park that, in some ways, I think that Jurassic World is even better than Jurassic Park. Not to make too much of a comparison, but in other ways, there are moments in Jurassic Park that are classic moments. And some of those moments, the discovery of some of those dinosaurs as they appear on the screen, combined with the other production elements and the music and all of that, really are iconic moments. And so I remember experiencing those moments in the audience of seeing the first screening that I saw of the movie and being incredibly, actually moved by the feeling that kind of in some ways history was changing, and or that the industry, or that the craft of movie making was evolving in such an incredible way in my lifetime.
And so now you're back. Yes. And Dr. Henry Wu is back.
Yes.
And his progression now is, I mean, seemingly that he is now kind of a villain of the series. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious what you think. How do you think Dr. Wu feels about himself by the end of Jurassic World?
Yes,
how does he
good
see
question.
himself?
Yeah, I think he's at very most, in the closest thing that I would say to him being a villain as far as his own self-perception is that he feels misunderstood. And what I mean by that is I think he has this whole agenda going on in his mind about what he's doing and why he's doing it, that actually, in its most perverse way possible, justifies or discounts all the bad things that are happening. Like, he's like, yeah, there's all this bad stuff happening, but you don't understand what I'm really trying to do.
Right. Which
is change the world or make something incredible happen in the world that will be his mark and be his thing. It's ego-driven, and it's from lots of years of really hard work and real knowledge and real talent. No question about it. But his motivations get a little skewed, I think, because that he can see that thing in his future, and he's unable to understand the ramifications in the immediate future of what it is that he's done right now. And that's interesting to me, that a person can turn a blind eye, that a person can have almost no reaction when someone says, well, you know, a whole bunch of people have been killed. And his reaction is almost like, yeah, well, that's too bad. But you don't understand. Let me just explain. This is all going to be great. You know, that callousness to human life in giving over to something that he perceives to be greater is interesting to me. And I would like to think that could be possibly explored in the future, but I can't say that it would be, or I don't know that it will.
Well, I mean, they left it open-ended. You're riding off. I mean, I'm sure he's not going to go retire and just like hang out. He's
and make little dinosaurs and play with them at home. but you know, who knows? The helicopter could go to I don't know, somewhere. So who knows where that helicopter is actually going? So
Colin Trevorrow said that he said this week that his plan was to do a full trilogy of the Jurassic World films, and I just couldn't imagine it without you at this point.
Well, and did you tell him that?
I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't.
then
but
you get out of my room.
I can't imagine that would escape him in any way. I can't imagine we would not see Dr. Wu back again, creating something insane. For
I
the
feel
next
like he
ones.
left a door open. I do feel like he left a door open, and I feel like a door was left open in Jurassic Park. And so, as far as Henry Wu is concerned, he's always looking for an open door. The open door is his friend, and so I can't say much more than that because I really don't know. But it does seem logical as an audience member, as a person watching the movie as an audience member. That's what it feels like to me.
What I'm curious about is you guys' first experience with Jurassic Park. Can you guys tell me about like what it was like for you guys, like that experience of the phenomenon of Jurassic Park for you guys individually?
I experienced the phenomenon a little bit late. I didn't see it in theaters, but I got the chance to see it. It was always around our house. We had it on VHS and DVD. Yeah, the way that the story's told, it draws you right in, and it really makes you believe in this world, in this universe. And I think that's really just a testament to the story and the effects, and to just Steven Spielberg's filmmaking in general. But yeah, it's a great film, and it means a lot to a lot of people, myself included.
Yeah.
Again with Nick, I didn't see it in theaters, but I did see it when I was like little. But I loved it. I had it on VHS. For some reason, I had a VHS when I was little.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
cool. I did too.
yeah, me too.
I had a VHS and a DVD player. We only used the VHS. I didn't know how to work the DVD player. But it was I would always, like, it was one of the only movies I would watch, besides Star Wars and, like, the Disney Robin Hood animated Fox
Oh, yeah.
thing.
That was a good one. I had all
It's a
those.
classic.
But, I was a huge fan. The T-Rex, sometimes I would just fast forward to that just to watch that scene only.
Understandable.
With the water and the
Yeah.
that's really hard to beat that.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite scene of all time in a Jurassic Park movie. Yeah.
Not for this. There's not anything in it. There's got to be something, right?
Well, so for you guys kind of create your own classic, iconic scene with the gyrosphere scene.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
tell me about just a little bit about how you guys what the experience was like shooting that sequence.
It was a very intensive process. I mean, because there were a lot of special effects that go into that. It's not just a Jeep anymore. You have a whole glass sphere around you. You have all these all the reflections in the glass and all of the dinosaurs around you. It was a process. It probably took, all things considered, probably about a month and a half or so to get that whole sequence nailed
Yeah.
down.
Just that
And,
entire sequence. Plus
it
a
was
few
fun.
extra days in New Orleans.
Yeah,
For just like the upside down stuff.
yeah, all together, yeah.
Now, did you guys had a look at the IREX beforehand, so you kind of knew what you were reacting to? It wasn't just like
we knew
here's
what
a
it
little
would look
green
like. What it looked
thing.
like.
There was, we had a lot of, they had a lot of previs, so they'd bring out an iPad, and then you'd watch like a Nintendo
Like a-
64 graphic.
Like one of those like crappy little, just like walking.
Like this is what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Go be scared. That's what you're gonna be afraid of.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Did you guys? I mean, were you guys able to bond beforehand? Like, before the production started, so you guys kind of like get that
Well,
brotherly bond going,
like,
or
Yeah,
we only filmed 8 days on Oahu, and then we went to Kauai for 2 weeks, and then we filmed all that. But so we were in Oahu for one and a half months.
Yeah.
And we basically that entire time we just went kayaking. We went ziplining.
Oh, nice.
What did we do?
We went on some hikes.
Hiking,
I rented
surfing.
a moped, even though I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, he rented a moped. He was supposed to. We went snorkeling, whale watching, deep sea snorkeling,
Deep sea snorkeling.
all that good
yeah,
stuff.
Dolphins.
All that boogie boarding.
The deal, boogie boarding. Yeah.
All that good stuff.
So you guys got the fully immersive, like brotherly bonding experience.
Yeah,
prior to
it was
start.
like
Yeah,
it was like we had a family vacation with just us in Hawaii.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
That's
pretty cool.
awesome.